Booktube, happy October. How's your reading month so far? Yeah, so in my last video, I've talked about how I'm gonna read books with blue colored covers for the month of October, and I have discussed the timeline of the books that I'm gonna read as well as the sequence. So I guess off we go to my very first book for the month, which is mystery, of course. Wendy Corsi Staub's Dearly Beloved. Um, I'm not sure if you've watched the video where I have unboxed this book. It's part of a book bundle package that I ordered online. This was one of the random selections chosen by the seller for me. I wasn't expecting this particular title, and when I unbox that particular package, I've only taken a few seconds to look at what's at the back, because if there's one thing I know about mystery books, mystery paperbacks, especially those that are dated, especially those that are, published in older years, I know for sure that they tend to have the entire plot spoiled at the back of the novel. I don't know why they do that, but they just practically ruin the entire thing by posting half the plot at the back of the book. At that point in life where I realized that, I stopped reading the back of the book for mystery paperbacks like this. And I could tell right away it was mystery because the cover kind of betrays it. Old mystery paperbacks tend to have really dark and ominous, eerie covers like this. Also, it did mention that if you like Mary Higgins Clark, you'll love Wendy Corsi Staub. So I kind of, taken the hint that it could be a mystery. I went ahead and read the book, only glancing at a couple of words at the back because I couldn't help it. I saw 3 words. 4 words. I saw a couple of words when I look at the back of this book. I couldn't help it. I just accidentally saw them, and right away they piqued my interest. So I really had a good feeling that I'm gonna go ahead and like this book. That's why I chose it as the first book I'm gonna read for the month. I thought it's gonna be a breeze to just get through this. Oh, the words that I saw at the back, I still haven't read what is the back until now. I'm not yet done at this time. I read the words 3 women and to die. Those are the words that I saw. So just those few words alone, and I'm already sold. I'm already invested. What really, piqued my interest by reading those words is the possibility that this is a multi-protagonist format story, and I like it when stories are not just really anchored on one certain individual, because it tends to make the plot more complex, especially when it's done in mysteries. So I really like that. Went ahead and started reading this with just that knowledge. So I have no idea whatsoever except for those 3 words. And then true enough, just to cut the story short, this is kind of slow burn because the pacing tends to focus more on the characters instead of the actual plot going forward. But I don't mind. I'm 117 pages in, and nothing yet has happened so far. What has only taken place as of now is that the 3 characters were introduced. We have 3 women, as I've mentioned. And you know what? If later on, after I finish this book, I'm gonna read what it's the back of this, because I haven't really seen it until now. If I find out that the content of the back of this paperback pretty much sums up what I know so far, 117 pages in, I'd be a little pissed. Because imagine if I did that, if I actually read this book and then I plow through 117 pages not knowing anything new than what's on here. Feels kind of a waste of time, right? We have three characters, three women. The first one is Sandy Cavelli. She is someone who has a secret habit of posting ads. Is that what you call them? Personal ads on single magazines or magazines for bachelors or those looking for pen pals. You know, that's also one thing that I like about going to a book blindly, especially if they look old or dated. I tend to amuse myself by guessing what time a certain book got published based on the world building being established. The fact that there's no social media here, no mention of the internet whatsoever, and our character is out here posting ads to promote herself to formidable bachelors kind of screams, 90s, definitely. There's not even a mention of mobile phones or SMS. Just merely landlines is all they have. And ads in magazines. So I guess the equivalent of Tinder. I don't know. She has a habit of posting ads, and then one day she receives a mail. She always receives a couple of mails every weekend, but on a particular day she receives a letter from a young, wealthy surgeon who was nice enough to enclose an image of himself, which I think in the modern equivalent it's a thirst trap, because he's practically half naked on a yacht drinking wine, and he is inviting Sandy to an all expenses paid weekend date on a certain remote island, an inn on a remote island where they could meet each other, because he feels like they have a mutual connection because they share a lot of similar interests, and maybe they could be each other's the one. So, on hindsight, of course they wouldn't be able to have all those catfishing red flags by that time or in that particular era. But yeah, that's the setup. That's our first main character. And then we get introduced to our second character. Her name is Lisa Danning. Lisa Danning, who lives in a posh Manhattan apartment. She works as an editor, or I guess a literary agent at a very prominent publishing house. She is portrayed as someone who is very bold, has countless casual relationships and one night stands, and not really the type of woman who gets tied down with commitments. Someone very career oriented, definitely. She's very much a modern woman who always puts ambition first. I guess that's how I would describe her. Classic Sex in the City type of girl. Yeah. One day, Lisa, while she's going through a list of manuscript submissions, she chances upon this letter from, I guess, a very famous big time author who has been a recluse for the last couple of years. And he's inviting her for an all expenses paid weekend at a certain remote island for them to have a face-to-face meeting over a potential partnership, wherein he could have his next anticipated book to be published by their publishing house, which to Lisa means a very solid deal because it would help her further cement her rise to the career ladder, the corporate ladder. So, of course, she was very excited for it, and she right away ditched all her plans and went ahead to that weekend trip. To our third character, her name is Jenny Towns, who lives in Boston. Jenny lives with her twin named Laura, and Laura one night rather, to, Laura tells Jenny that she has won a charity sweepstake by the National American Cancer Society whatsoever. She has won a random charity sweepstake. And although she really wants to go, her boyfriend, who has been working overseas for a month in Japan, is about to come home for the weekend, and they're very excited to reunite, and spend the weekend together. Therefore, she cannot go. And she asks Jenny if she would kindly pretend to be her so she can relax and enjoy that all expense paid weekend. So, right off the bat, it's very reminiscent of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, if you've ever read it, wherein several characters get invited to a certain remote island, and then it feels very ominous on what's gonna transpire there, what's gonna happen to them. Already 117 pages in, and nothing has happened yet at this time. No real danger yet, but I know for sure that there's a villain overlooking all of them, which kind of makes it creepy. But yeah, let's see if things will get more exciting from here on. Right now, I just have this question in my head the entire time because, well, I have no problems with the storytelling because I really like how the author takes her time to flesh out the characters and what their identities are, what their backgrounds are, what makes them tick, how they feel in certain situations. It kind of makes me think if all mysteries are automatically supposed to be thrillers, because could it be possible that some mysteries aren't meant to be thrillers because they're really meant to be slow burn? Have we ever thought of that? That mystery doesn't always have to be fast paced? I don't know. Let's find out. You know, the pacing of this is more of an adult contemporary drama instead of a mystery, or if it's a thriller even, because like I said earlier, the writer really focuses a lot on the establishing of the character identities, and even the side characters have backstories. Like, wow, she really takes her time to introduce the characters of the world that she's trying to introduce to us. And while that is something that I appreciate, whenever I read a mystery story, my expectations are the plot is really gonna make me feel excited. I am expecting to be at the edge of my seat. most of the time. And so far, yeah. Let's see. Hopefully it picks up after a couple more pages. This is just so funny to me because literally during the first 100 or so pages, I have this assumption that the author is spineless because she just procrastinates and procrastinates and just takes her, pretty sweet time, not killing anyone. And now that I breached the 200 page mark, I'm just like, girl, calm down. Hold your horses, don't kill everyone. The moment things started going down south, definitely my anxiety level shot up just as bad because I don't know what happened. The plot really just picked up and the pace is now just all over the place. And it's crazy because I'm just nervous for every single one of them. I'm nervous for every single one, even the villain. Which is problematic because I'm not supposed to side with him. This is so wrong on so many levels. But I think what's really amazing here is the author was able to really introduce the concept of all of us being victims and villains at the same time. That at the core of it, violence is really a chain of events, of unfortunate circumstances and choices. Oh my god. Can I just say that if you have managed to write a spectacular build-up and a tension-filled build-up, you have an emotional, physical, moral, legal obligation to follow it through with an ending that is just as spectacular. Right? So, I finished Dearly Beloved a couple of hours ago, and I don't know, I seriously don't know how to feel about it. That's why I just took a nap after I finished it. The last few pages had been very much like an adrenaline rush. The build-up was just awesome because it truly felt like I was right smack in the middle of that car chase scene, I was nervous the entire time. However, when the ending finally came, it's not that it fell flat, it just felt like somewhat abrupt. I honestly don't know what I was hoping for. It had me questioning myself whether I wanted a happy ending. Am I hoping for poetic justice? I don't know. It had me questioning what I really wanted to happen, because what it gave me was a very rushed conclusion. That's what I felt. When I'm reading a story, it's very important that upon finishing the reading experience, I would feel that the author has remained faithful with the message or the heart of the story that he or she's envisioning at the beginning of it, the consistency. However, I understand that there are cases when the story and the characters evolve and develop a life of their own in the middle of the writing process. I understand that. I totally get that. But still, there is a writing there's a kind of faithfulness that I was hoping to see towards the ending of every story. I just wanted to not feel cheated, if you understand what I mean. And what I felt upon wrapping up this story is that it felt like the writer was rushing to meet a deadline. I'm sorry if that's harsh, but that's what it felt like to me. It felt like she had to hurry up and submit it to her editor, so she wanted to write something that would feel like a consolation, because it felt like she killed so many characters. Have you ever felt that way? I don't know. But I guess if a book can still question your perspective about something, it still speaks about how powerful that is. So overall, I think this is still a really good book. There were just a lot of things that I'm very uncertain about what I feel exactly, and I guess, you know, that's still a really remarkable feeling to have, to not know how you must feel about something. You know what? I'm still glad I read it. It's still a good time. I enjoy this. It had me at the edge of my seat and on my toes, which is exactly what I was craving for. And it was also a good adult contemporary drama. So, you know, still very successful. Yeah, I'm excited to move forward on my next book for this month. See you on my next video. Bye!